Hello, welcome back to Lumps of Life. My name is Jared Lumsden, and I'm back today with self love expert and unconditional love coach, Judith Costa. Thank you for joining me.
Oh, I'm so thrilled to be here with you, Jared. Thank you for the
I'm very happy you wanted to come on. So I peruse a lot on the internet looking for people that kind of very much relate to my journey, my story, and coming across your profile. Self love was not something that I even contemplated that was a problem. I didn't until I started cutting back a lot of these things in my life that weren't me. And I started realizing these things that I was doing out of people pleasing, validation, just, I guess, old wiring from life. And I started gaining that confidence. I started gaining that appreciation the more that I kept myself eating the right way, the more I kept myself in the gym. At first, it was a lot of vanity, it was a lot of the wrong reasons, but then I started feeling that confidence, that ability to be proud of myself. And then I kind of realized like, oh, I've never been proud of myself. Like I've never had that ability to see myself in a way where I could be like, "Oh, hey, good job. You're really doing well." And it kind of struck me where it was like, "Oh, this is a lot of where things in society kind of beat that out of you over a little bit of time." And the more I broke down those patterns, the more I started seeing it in a lot of society where you look at influencers or athletes or and you're always getting the best of the best, and it gives you that level of like, I'm not good enough, I can't reach that level. And then on the flip side, you see the worst of the worst in that same realm. And for me, it created this like want to stay safe, this want to stay in my own little bubble and not go out of that world in fear of the risk and fear of failing and fear of like not being enough, I guess. And then the more that I've learned these things, the more that confidence keeps kind of coming in, and I get to a level where I don't have as much of that, where if, I hear like somebody says something about me, or I've got that ability of like, hey, I know my truth, I know what I'm doing. That doesn't affect me. That's more about that person. And that took me a really long time to even get to that level. And so coming across your profile, I was like, oh, this is the perfect person to kind of sit and talk about these things and how these things kind of impact our brains, our life over time, and just the ability to learn how to love yourself, I guess, is very important. So how did your journey start with wanting to dive into this world?
well, the same as you. I mean, you describe something that is very common. I think that is my client's journey. What you said, they come for a conversation, and maybe they don't consider that they have no relationship with themselves or a bad relationship with themselves. They just see that they cannot find the relationship, or they cannot get the job, or they don't feel happy or worthy, or they don't have the health that they desire. And when we go deeper at the bottom, is that the most important reason why we have some sort of problems in life is because we don't love ourselves enough. And thank you for your vulnerability and expressing everything you said. You said many important things that was trying to compute to give you a kind of an answer. But is, as you mentioned, like we live in a world that don't invite us to love ourselves, just the opposite. We are
Yeah.
way, uh, and especially we are confused about what is love. We think that love is that thing that comes from outside of us, that we don't have it and we need it. And then we have to please our parents, our siblings, our friends, and be the way they want us to be, because we are social animals. We want to belong. We want to be loved. Every baby is born with this in their hearts. And then we start changing, thinking that this is the best way of getting love. And this becomes automatic. until there is a
Hmm.
point in your life, as you said, and there is a big problem, or there is an important aha moment where you say, that's not the life I want to live. And I was there. My life from outside looked pretty good. I had
Yeah.
a beautiful house, a loving husband, a job that I didn't like, but it pays the bills very well. And I didn't have reasons in theory to be unfulfilled, and I was. And I had to start looking for answers. And that was the beginning. I love to study, but that's the beginning of all my studies and the thing that I learned about. But it was mostly for understanding of myself, for healing myself, to trying to figure out that I had this sensation always that life has more than that
Hmm.
we are offered, that what we know, and that the answer is within, that the answer is not in getting more, accumulating more, having more friends, more influence, more power, more money. All of that can be the result of just living the life you want, and then all the good things is what you attract. But self-love is a concept that it's not understood by many people because they don't know, like, should I love myself? Is this okay? Is this selfish? How I do
Yeah.
have to put
Well,
others to
society
sacrifice.
makes you feel like it's selfish. It's selfish to take care of yourself, but I heard the analogy one time of you can't pour from an empty cup, and that always stuck with me because I didn't realize how much the people pleasing and the validation was draining me. The more, and I kind of learned that pulling things back, the more I got rid of the things that were not me, the more that I got rid of the masks, the lies, the manipulations, hiding from my mistakes, any of those things, the more I stopped doing that and I just owned them, the less power they had, the less issue they caused me. And then I kind of became addicted to it, where it was like, oh, this makes everything better. So the more I started pulling my energy and doing the things that felt right for me, not because someone told me I had to do it or because I was afraid someone was going to think weirdly of me. I just started living my life for me and for my family because I felt the same way. I felt like there was so much more to this life than me waking up, going to a job that I was miserable in, coming home and living that life until I inevitably retire and look back on life and go, "Hey, what did you do? What did we do with this?" And it kind of freaked me out. And I'm like, "Okay, I've got to make some drastic changes and fix some things. What am I missing here?" And then the more I started unraveling it, the more I pulled back that energy. And it's that same thing. It comes off as selfish, but it really is just trying to take care of yourself and become that the realist version of you, I guess, is
Yeah,
was
it's
the best
exactly that.
way for me to kind of like, I don't know, unravel it and get my brain on track.
Yeah, the only way of doing this process, because loving yourself is a journey. It's not something that you go to classes Tuesdays and Thursdays and finally you graduate and that's it. No, it's a life journey.
Yeah.
And the important is awareness, is to start paying attention. It's exactly what you described. In the moment I realized, in the moment I started paying attention, is when you can change things. And it requires courage. What you just said,
Mhm.
I mean, you're brave because not everybody wants to look inside,
Yeah.
especially because people think that they are going to find all the darkness. And
Mhm.
no, they're going to find all the beauty that they have, all the magnificence, all the uniqueness, all the how special they are. And
Yeah.
they have forgotten. And the more you spend time with yourself alone, without multitasking or doing any other things, the more you get to know yourself. The same you will do when you fall in love with someone. You will want to spend time with this person, and you will want to know everything about their lives because you're curious. Then you have to have the same attitude. Take yourself out, spend time with you, doing things that you like, or doing nothing. Just sit and watch the clouds how they pass. But it's exactly as you mentioned. We don't cultivate the sense of appreciation, the sense of, if you cannot love yourself, at least like yourself. Start by liking
Mhm.
yourself, appreciating the things that you do. One of the things that are more difficult for my clients is celebrate their wins. Like, we take ourselves for granted so easily. Like, when
Mhm.
we do everything okay, then we don't say anything. But when we fail, then we are brutal. we are so hard on ourselves, like a strict parent. How is possible? And we start having this inner voice, this inner critic, we should say. Then we have to change the radio station. We have to train our mind to start being kinder and and more understanding, and to treat ourselves in a different way, just the way you treat your best friend. That's self-love. Treat
And
yourself the way you treat someone you love.
absolutely. And it really is a journey. It comes with a lot of time and practice, and you essentially will rewire your brain to not throw the negative first. If you start taking that step to be stronger than those feelings, I guess, in those moments where it overwhelms, it takes over, that mistake, that person makes a weird comment that hits you the wrong way. And I've always told myself, like, hey, you'll hear 99 compliments, but then one person has a negative reaction, and that's the one we're gonna believe and stick to. That's
Yeah,
not the way to go about it.
but that's the way the brain is wired. Then it has a negativity bias because the brain is just a processor that is based in past events, and it's trying to make yourself, to save yourself from any danger, and
Hmm.
to keep you alive. Then your brain
And
is not there to make you happy, because happiness doesn't depend on that. Love and happiness are choices that you have to make every morning. You have to create the reality where you can experience those things, because your mind will take you towards the thing you have to resolve, towards the potential dangers, towards the things that you need to be aware just in case something goes wrong. Then it's a constant rewiring of the brain patterns that you have.
yeah. So for me, with when these things pop up, when these negative things pop up that would make me spiral, I started becoming really aware of them. And it started whenever I was able to quit my job. I felt this overwhelming weight release where and it was like, oh, that's what that was, that I was doing the wrong thing. That was my body screaming at me that this is not the right thing, the stress, whatever it was. So then I almost honed in on that, and anything that created that same anxious feeling, that negative spiral, I would just take a step back. And it didn't always like happen in the moment. Sometimes it would be after I lost my shit or whatever happened, but in most cases I can catch it in real time, and hey, this, or I feel that feeling and I go, okay, what where are we at? And you can almost trace it back to the root every time. And then the more we started speaking these things out openly, so anything that popped up, it was like, oh, okay, what was that? And we would just start walking it back. Okay, this is what happened. This is what I felt. And then inevitably something would eventually pop up where it's like, oh, this is from this, and this. And we would trace it back to our childhood, to it. There was so many different avenues of it, but the more we did it, it was kind of like opening Pandora's box, where we started doing it and then it just kept showing us the weaknesses almost to an extent, where then I would just see it and go, oh, okay, that's
I
another piece of this, that like I used to get out of the shower and I would hate the way my body looked. But that was on me. Nobody's coming to lose weight for me. No one's going to go to the gym for me. So I can look in the mirror every day and talk horribly to myself, or I can take that energy and I can put it into the gym every morning so I no longer look like that. And I remove that stressor from my brain. And then that's helped create a level of confidence and appreciation for myself and love for myself. And it's amazing to me how many things change that. Like I had to completely get off of social media for the same thing. It would continuously click negative triggers in my head, and I would start spiraling over dumb things just because I was reading or watching a video on Twitter or Facebook or whatever it was. And it's
don't
like, oh, all of this stuff is directly impacting my brain, my energy, my confidence. Like, oh, okay, let's pull this back too. And I just keep kind of unraveling the pieces of the puzzle that make me not feel good or myself. And it's so many of these just everyday things that we do.
I want to. Everything you said is totally true, and you have worked a lot on yourself. But I don't want to give the impression to people that this is difficult, that they're going to find a lot of stuff that, because it's not really. It's not.
Hmm.
This should be an enjoyable journey. Loving
Yeah.
yourself is an adventure. This is what life is about. You're here to learn how to love and how to be loved, and the rest is just pure decoration.
Yeah.
Don't think that this is like therapy, that you have to be there for years and you have to solve problems, because if we only approach ourselves from a perspective of fixing ourselves, that's not self-love.
It's exhausting.
Exactly, because then you have another problem that is fixing you,
Yeah.
and that's not loving at all. The idea is that you start discovering that you are bigger than you have never imagined, that you have the divine within you, that you have a power of being connected with everything that exists, that you are special, and there is this world is different because you exist. And
Hmm.
when you discover all of these things, you know that the source of love is within yourself, and that's the love that supports you. And you start looking at the outside, the external circumstances, as something that you decide if you allow it into your field, into your life. It's convenient, as you said, but it's not like you have to detach from everything and be a monk and go to the top of the hill in a cave to do this process. No, you can do it right here, right now, but it's slowly making changes as you described. I left that. I realized that this was not good for me. Then it at the end you embody this energy and it just happens automatically. You start
Yeah.
noticing these things, and it's not that you have to choose differently or you have to make a change. It's not that if you don't like your body you have to fix it. You can learn to accept it as it is. You can learn to find the energy within yourself to have the right amount of pounds or kilos, because you love yourself and you want a healthy, vibrant, full of energy body, not because you have to look better in society or because you need a boyfriend or a girlfriend.
Yep.
It's very important to know that behind everything there is a solution, that it's add more love. And the
And it's
more,
always love. Love
yeah,
and forgiveness
yeah,
tend to work with everything. And I think what you just said is so important because that was something that I messed up over and over again. I said earlier that I was doing everything for the wrong reasons. And it was that like I didn't think I could have success unless I figured everything out. I didn't think anyone would listen to me about weight loss unless I had abs and I had the body that and then over the course of the process, I had that same realization of like, oh, I'm trying to be perfect and I'm not going to accept or love myself
yeah,
until I meet this unreal expectation that I'm placing in my head. But then it was causing more problems where if I ate incorrectly one day, I would lose my mind. I would start getting mad at myself. And it was that like, oh, hey, I'm not having fun. This is supposed to be like they always teach you to enjoy the journey and like the journey's the best part, but you overlook that. And I almost did the same thing, but luckily I was able to kind of pull that back and realize, okay, hey, I'm never going to be perfect. I need to be proud of myself. Look at the work you've done. You've lost over 100 pounds. You flip-flopped your mentality. You found a lot of different things out about yourself that you never knew before, and you've healed a lot. Be proud of yourself. Not quit looking at the next thing that needs fixed. Quit looking at the thing that you need to do to be perfect. And that was what I was doing. I was always looking for the fix. I was always looking for what the next thing was. But then I was doing it with me. I was doing it with my wife, with my kids, and it was exhausting. I wasn't enjoying life. I wasn't ever eating food that I was enjoying. We were afraid to spend money. We were like, everything was just like redlined, trying to do this as perfect as possible. And it was actually causing more of the opposite problem. So then I went into a whole thing with control of like, hey, you have to just back off and go with the flow of every day. Try to do a little bit better every day. If you can just make different decisions that pop up in life that normally I'd go this direction. Hey, let's try it this way. That one always gives me a negative return. Let's take a step back here and try this. Or if I start getting hard on myself about getting off of my diet, or I don't go to the gym that day, not letting myself beat myself up over it and just understanding, hey, today's not that day. If I don't feel it, today's a rest day. Listen to my body, have fun. But I wasn't living life because I genuinely thought in order for me to do what I'm doing and to heal and to find success in what I'm doing, I needed to be perfect. I needed to have everything lined up. And I think there was a little bit of that fear of people making fun of me, people whatever also that led into that. But yeah, backing off of that and not trying to find whatever the next thing is I need to fix, and enjoying those waves of, you'll always have stuff to fix. There's always going to be problems that arise in life, but taking them as they're happening for me, not to me, and just taking each one of them day to day, living in the moment. I used an analogy for my son the other day. I think it was when I was talking to him, but I was like, if you look at life like you're mowing the grass, if you keep your head down and you're just walking and you're mowing what's in front of you and you just handle it piece by piece, step by step, you don't look up and look at the big picture and go, I have so much left to do. You're looking in front of you and you're just in the moment, cutting what needs to be cut right in front of you. Every time I look up and look at the whole yard, then I'm like, I have so much more work to do. And it was draining me. And it's like, that's such a good way to just look at life in general, of just live every moment, that step by step. And when you look at that big picture, whether it's weight loss or fixing things about your life, getting to where you want to be with your dreams, the more you look at that end result and big picture of what you don't have, you tend to, almost for me anyway, I just would like obsess about it. And it would be me not being appreciative with where I'm at, who I am, and what I have now. I was so involved in getting to the end result that I almost burnt everything that I was trying to do it for down in the process.
It's a good point. Again, many important things you share, and it's one of the traps when we don't love ourselves enough. And I have done it very well. We try to control. I think that first is impossible, and second is exhausting. Because it requires all your energy. Then you don't want to make mistakes, you don't want to fail, you want to look perfect because you thought that if you're perfect, people are gonna love you. Maybe you consciously don't, but unconsciously is what you're trying to do, because you remember that when you were a good boy or a good girl, then when you have good grades or when you did something that others like, then you were more loved. You received more validation and appreciation. Then this is the way we go through life, instead of learning how to surrender. But surrender requires confidence. And people think that confidence is having everything figured out, but confidence is what you mentioned, like no matter what is going to happen in my life and what challenges I am presented with, I will have the ability to overcome them. And why I feel like that? Because I know I'm supported. I'm supported by this immense force, call it the universe, God, or whoever, source, whoever it is. Then you don't go through life thinking that you need to know everything or be prepared. As you mentioned, you stay in the present moment, focus where things are happening, and you don't continuously look at the past where you had problems, maybe unresolved or loose ends, and you don't project yourself into a future that most probably you worry about things that will never happen. You stay where you are, you use all your energy to be here, and you don't think about resolving anything. You just allow life to guide you and to present you with the next step and the next step and the next step. Then with all the available energy that you have, you can put the intention where you want to go and allow life to kind of help you, transport you over there and open the doors and the windows that you need, introduce you to the right people. And slowly, when you learn to live this way, it's kind of, you have an energy that when people love themselves, it's very funny because they are like a magnet. You can see that people like to hang out around them. They don't know why, but it feels good. Why? Because someone that loves himself is not judgmental, because has with himself, how not to be judgmental. It doesn't go for the drama because it's not interested in all. It's interested in the harmony, in the peace, in the balance. And yes, you have your opinion, I have my opinion. I feel more compassion when something is going wrong in the world. I don't just complain and judge. I feel compassion. I try to take action to resolve things, but from a different perspective. They don't add all this drama into relationships because they don't need the love from another person. They just want to share the love that they already have. Then this love for yourself resolve a lot of common issues that in society we have, because we
Oh,
expect to be perfect.
yeah, and I think it's so much of society, and it's for me anyway, it was so many of these little addictions that I had, whether it had been social media, food, all of these different things that I broke over time, I realized were fracturing that sense of self. And it really is, the more you just pull everything back and you try to live as naturally as possible, that connection to that tends to get stronger for me. The more that I pray, the more that I believe that everything is happening for a reason, that everything's timed for me, nothing's happening to you. Everything that I've been through that's been hard, on the back end of it, because I don't run from it anymore. I used to just always run from anything, any problem, any confrontation. I would just hide from it, or I would handle it the complete wrong way. And now I don't let myself do that. I'll handle it, I'll ask questions, I'll process it, but I will not run away from it. I'll sit, and if I have that urge to get on my phone, if I have the urge to go eat bad food, I've become very aware of like, oh, this is just my body's want for that dopamine, because I don't want to feel this sadness. I don't want to feel this anger, this depression, whatever it is in that moment. And I just learned that I was hiding in all these different things. So now I'll just sit in it, and I'm like, okay, what are we doing with this one? What happened? What caused this? What can I do better? And it's always, what can I do better? Because I learned a long time ago that anytime that I look outside of what I'm doing, I can't control anybody else. The only thing I can control is my actions and my responses to things. And that's what I try to do. I try to handle myself in a way that I don't let that hit me as hard. I don't let that affect me. I don't blame. It doesn't matter what's going on. I try my best to see. And then the more I've worked on myself, the more I can see those patterns. And it's kind of that same thing where you see it in other people, and it gives me that ability to have a little more empathy and that ability to forgive, because I see things that I've fixed and that I used to do a lot. So then it's like, oh, got it. Like, that's what you're doing there. This is what I used to do, kind of thing. And that always helps too. But it's a lot of fear, I think. I think that fear of all of these different things, in the way life has beat you down, the way life has treated you, whatever it is that's stuck to you in your brain, a lot of that fear of either it not wanting to happen again, you not wanting it to happen to your kids, whatever that may be. I feel like as humans, we tend to go really hard trying to keep that from happening and control it. And then in almost all cases for me, it ended up happening anyway. And it ended up happening in a worse fashion than what I thought would have happened, all because I was attempting to control it and make it something different. The more I back off and I just let things play out, and I look at everything like, hey, we're all just individual humans. I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and I'm going to try to be the best version of myself. And whatever other people do, that it doesn't really affect me. It reflects them in most cases, but
Yes.
not letting those things stick to me has been a very helpful part of it too. But trying to learn how to create that confidence and cut that fear was such a big help in my journey, that it, like, learning that all these things that I was trying to control were not helping. It was actually making everything worse. I was pushing things further away. I was causing the problems that I was trying to avoid. And then the more I lean into those problems, the more I just accept them and go, okay, yep, this is one of those fears, or saying that uncomfortable thing that pops up in your head, and you like, oh, I don't know that I can say that, or you tell a lie, and you immediately are like, hey, I just lied. I shouldn't have done that. Like, for me, that was the quickest way to rewire my brain, because once I did that a couple times, my brain was like, okay, we don't want to do that no more. That was not fun. Let's just not lie, and then we don't have to experience that weird thing. But the more I've broken that down, the more I feel the same thing. The confidence, the ability to just go with the flow day to day, it kind of settles in the more you make those different moves and decisions?
Yeah, again, so many things are there to unpack, but I'm going to try to clarify, because I want this conversation to be practical for the people that are going to watch or listen this,
Absolutely.
and that they can do something about it. Because again, we have been in this path. But if someone is there and feels stuck, there are things that we have not learned. And you mentioned the word learning. Yeah, this is about learning new ways of being, new tools, resources, different attitudes to our lives. But one of the problems that we have is that sometimes we have the sensation that we are powerless, that we are choiceless. Like, I'm stuck, my life is not working. And we start criticizing ourselves, but we have a very important power. And unfortunately, they don't teach this in the schools, but I hope one day we do, or we teach to our kids, that it's the power to love yourself, includes the power of letting go and the power of forgiveness. You mentioned it as well. Then self-forgiveness is very important because it gives you the power to let go of something. They are synonyms, and move forward with your life. You don't have to be living in a situation that happened in the past again and again and again. People have the idea that forgiveness is this like thing that comes from another person. No, the other person is gonna forgive me and then I'm gonna be okay. No, forgiveness is an act of love for yourself. It's a radical act of self-love that what allows you is to know that you can change. I mean, you can do something about what happens with the other person if in case you cause pain, or but in case someone else caused pain to you, you don't need the other person to apologize as well. In the moment you forgive, there is a disconnection, critical disconnection, that allows you to continue with your life without carrying that pain, that disappointment, whatever happened between you and the other person, or a thing, or a situation, or it might be like a tornado or a hurricane. It doesn't have to be a person. But you might be angry because in a certain moment in time, something happened to you. Then the more you love yourself, the more you understand that you have resources to continue with your life, that your present and your future are not a result of your past, that what happened in the past can be released or can be left in the past. It belongs to another moment. You are not the same person that made the same decisions. Past means like 50 years ago or yesterday, it doesn't matter. And if you believe in previous lifetimes, many lifetimes ago as well. Then loving yourself is not being constantly like living in the pain of, oh, this is not good, that's not good, I have to fix that. Because if not, again, we add more suffering. Is realizing what is going on in my life, what I want to transform, and doing it with love. I think that you are very analytical. I am as well, and I tend to attract clients that are analytical as well. And we have a very powerful element in here, our brain, that is constantly designed to generate thoughts 24/7, all the time, and usually not the nice ones. More the you're not good enough, this is not gonna work out, you can't say this is a product of the past. And let's talk what happened to a kid from 0 to 7. You integrate everything you hear because you cannot distinguish. And you have a program, you have been programmed in the good sense also, like for the good things and for the not so good things, from TV, the radio, your authority figures, your caretakers, your friends, everything that you learn listening to a stranger, doesn't matter. You integrate all of this as truth. And if you don't stop and take a look at what is the program, if you don't make updates, then you continue living from a program of the past. When you have evolved, you want to evolve, but there is this force, no? People say, yeah, I want to change, but I cannot. Like, they tend to procrastinate, they tend to sabotage their efforts, because there are unconscious patterns. You don't make decisions consciously. You think you do, that you manage your life, but it's the unconscious that has automatized certain reactions towards life. Like, oh, I have problems. But some people get anxious, some people get depressed, some people get angry, some people, why? Because this is an automatic pattern. Then we think that we are the way we are, and that's not true. We can change at any moment. Emotions are important. We need the emotions because they are like the radar to go through life. You cannot live without emotions. But we have understood from society that some of them are good. Like I want to be happy, joyful, excited, passionate, and I don't want to be sad, angry. It doesn't matter. You need both, because if not,
Yeah.
you don't know how to navigate. If you don't get angry, you don't know that this is something that is not good. Then you are reacting. But
And
what
how
you do,
much of that in childhood is part of it, where if you don't experience these big emotions and learn how to handle emotions as a child, whether it's coddling, whether it's whatever, I mean, this day and age, it's hard
you
to
learn as an
like
adult.
parent more than it is like it's more that I want to be friends with my kid than it is to be able to like actually parent and discipline them. How much of that is where that comes from, where you don't learn as a kid how to handle these big emotions, so then you kind of spend life running from them because you don't figure out how to internalize that?
Don't worry, there is a moment where life will put you in that spot and you will learn. You can learn at any age. Sometimes in workshops that I teach, and people say, yeah, my parents did that, and they explain the whole story, and I very respectfully listen. But when the person finishes, say, how old are you?
Hmm.
52. And how much longer you want to continue blaming your parents that they did the best they could with what they
Yeah.
had? Then we have to learn how to parent ourselves. This is not about blaming others for our lack in life. One of the things that we don't understand is that we are responsible for our lives. And
Hmm.
responsible means not that we carry the weight, because responsibility sounds like heavy. No, we have the responsibility. We have the ability to respond to life in the way we want. But we have never experienced this freedom. We thought kind of that there is a destiny, things are fixed. This I was born in this family, this is the way we do things, this is the state or the country in where I live. No, you have many possibilities. And loving yourself or someone, or being happier or not, is a choice that you have to make when you wake up in the morning, when you put your feet on the floor. You have to decide that no matter what is happening today, I'm going to choose to be joyful. And not because everything is going to be wonderful around me. It's because no matter what is happening, what are the external circumstances, I'm going to decide to keep my inner peace, my balance, and being loving and kind, because this is the world I want to live in. And this is what I'm bringing to the world. You mentioned something that I'm just a human being. If everyone loved themselves just 5% more,
Hmm.
we will have an incredible world. If you just practice in a 5% more, all of us, if you just do what you can do for yourself, we will transform the love, the world, the everything.
And a lot of what you just said with the mindset of with like your surroundings, where you live, your family, that one, I feel like for me, it was very hard for me to detach myself from that, to be able to fully be myself, to be able to like, and it kind of felt like that with the wiring from high school too, where you'll have those two where random things will pop in your head of like, oh, this person probably, and it's like, why in the world did that just pop in my head? But is that kind of similar, where it's you spend
Yeah,
so much time in these surroundings that your brain latches on to these as like this high level of importance? Is that kind of what
no,
our brains do?
even bigger. It becomes your identity.
Okay.
People don't want to change because they don't know this is familiar. Then
Hmm.
this is like, imagine that you are trying to wear the clothes that you were wearing when you were 10 years old.
And you've outgrown them and it doesn't fit anymore, and you're trying to still make
This
that.
is what people do
Yeah.
with a belief system. They carry a belief system that they have not upgraded. They have never looked inside. We all carry a suitcase, but a very big one, super big, big as you can buy. And we
Hmm.
put all of the things there, what you were saying. When I was a kid, this happened and that happened, and I felt unrecognized and unseen and unloved. And then my boyfriend and my girlfriend, they left me, and then I suffered in high school, and then my first job, and you never touch that. But there is a moment where this suitcase that you carry with you everywhere you go, you carry it, becomes so heavy that you cannot continue walking through life. And this is what we call a crisis. Sometimes it's you lose a job or health or a marriage or just you are so unhappy. And you have then to stop, open that, and say, okay, is this what I still think? No, this is not even mine. This is what my parents taught me, but I am total disagreement. Okay, I let it go. And this is the pain, but I don't think that way. I overcome that. Okay, let me let it go. And then you review and you let it go. People don't want to go into the suitcase because they are afraid of what they are going to find, but they don't understand that they can let go. Then they say, okay, when I found this, what do I do with it? I'm very scared of looking inside of myself.
Yeah.
But if you don't look, you cannot release, because as Carl Gustav Jung was saying, what you don't make conscious, you cannot heal. And everything that is showing up that you say is uncomfortable is like great news. Now you know what is the problem. It's what you were saying. I realize that this affects me negatively. I'm not going to do it. But if you don't have this thinking, you are living with ideas and belief systems and mindset, whatever you want to call it, that don't suit you anymore. They don't allow you to grow, to experience life in a different way. And that is when people complain about having the same problems again and again and again. One relationship, but you find a different man, but with the same kind of issue. Or you change jobs and you find now it's not the boss, it's your colleague that makes your life impossible. And then, why? Because we are all help each other to grow. We are students here. Then the universe will present you opportunities, as many as necessary, for you to resolve an issue. And it will come in whatever kind of relationship, even from a stranger.
I call them loops of hell, because that's pretty much what they seem like. Because I realized that too, where they start coming over and over again, and they're the same thing. They're just in different wrapping. So you start seeing the same lessons over and over again. And there were some of them that I realized very quickly. There were some of them that I did over and over again. And I would get into that mindset of like, why is this happening again? Why? And it's like, finally I got to that, hey, you're doing something incorrectly. We have to internalize this and figure out what we're doing. Stop pointing fingers, stop blaming everyone else, stop playing victim. We have to figure out what we're doing wrong. And almost every time, if I put energy into it, I put love, forgiveness, it always changed. If I handled it the right way, I took the upper whatever, I didn't fall down and make me mad or bitter or evil. I just, okay, well, let's handle it this way. I would normally have handled it this way, and I would have lost my mind and started yelling at people. Let's not do that this time. Let's be kind and nice and understanding that this is another human being that's also been beaten down by life. They probably have their own world of things that I have no idea about. And that kind of, again, gives me that ability to bring that down, bring my feelings down, but get control of them. Because I think it's really good to feel those feelings, whether it be anger, sadness. It's just not letting them stick, letting them feel it, process it, be mad for a minute, be sad for a minute, cry it out, whatever you need to do. But for me, releasing that feeling in a safe way, feeling it, and then moving forward. I don't need to stick to it for hours on end. I don't need to dwell on it for multiple days, but I do need to let myself feel it, because if I don't, it's going to come out in something stupid later, where some little thing's going to happen. And then I let that anger that I had towards this situation come out on something that does not need that anger. And it's like, ooh, okay, same concept there. I cannot bottle those up. I wanted to go back to something you said about the negative and the loops. Some of them, I've dealt with a lot of different ones where I see these patterns and I see what I'm doing incorrectly. What about the ones that really stick, that you work through them and you get them out, like, you know that they're not real, you know it's old wiring, you're aware of it, but then it'll still pop up in weird ways, almost like it's trying to pull you back into that world to an extent.
It's again for the viewers of this to make it softer. Then we are saying here the way you are explaining, and it's not a judgment. It's just to make it softer and kinder. Like, I'm doing something wrong. Then if we come from that perspective, we are judging ourselves. That's not self-love. You're out of the self-love immediately. Then what we have to see is what is happening in this situation that I'm not perceiving, that I'm not aware yet, that make me find these situations again and again in my life. For example, one that is very clear is when we are afraid, for example, let's suppose fear of abandonment.
Mm-hmm.
Then my father left my mother and left me, and that was very big because I didn't have this figure. I mean, disappear of my life. And then I have a best friend, and something similar happened. And then I'm in a important relationship. I'm single, and I tend to be with people, and they end up leaving me. Then
Mm-hmm.
I have a confirmation that reality is people abandon me. Love is not safe. And I think that it's other people that do that to me. But in reality, how the universe works is, as I mentioned, it will present situations in your life for you to act differently. Not because you are wrong, it's because you have to realize something that maybe during all your life you weren't able to, or maybe in past lives also. I see that in many of my sessions, how other stuff that we carry from ancestors, that we carry from our genetic lineage, or we carry from so-called
Mm-hmm.
past lives, affect our life nowadays. Then that's the reason why we are unaware. Then this woman is dating this guy and everything is wonderful, and she's not afraid because everything is going so well in the relationship and she feels so comfortable until there is a sign, and she sees like a red flag here. He's not calling us frequently, or he went for a trip, and he is going with her beautiful assistant, uh, his beautiful assistant, sorry. And then something happened when he came back, and I this woman starts perceiving that there is a separation. And then what happened? She is triggered. She
Mm-hmm.
feels the fear of this is happening again in my life and I don't want it. And she doesn't realize that she does it, but she starts being controlling. She starts asking for proof of, do you love me? You haven't called me. You start putting pressure on the relationship. And the man doesn't like that. Like, what is going on with you? No, I'm perfect. I just has been very busy. Everything is great. But she is like in control mode, trying to figure out when it's going to happen to me, when it's going to happen to me. Then two things may happen, that at the end the relationship ends because it was not going that well and everything have changed, or she even can end the relationship herself because she doesn't want to be abandoned.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing that this is going to happen in her imagination, then when she gets triggered, that is what you are doing so well, Jared, explaining us, you observe yourself and you say, oh, I don't want to act this way. Then when she feels the fear of abandonment, she needs to work on herself. What we tend to do is we blame others for our pain. Then we start looking at the other person as to find the proof, the reason that he's not acting the same way. He is gonna create pain. But this is a misunderstanding about the emotions. Emotions are yours. They are triggered by others, yes, triggered, but they are yours. Nobody can make you feel anything. Let me repeat that. Nobody can make you feel anything. They will just trigger the patterns that you already have within yourself. It's like they press a button and you jump. They press a button,
Yeah.
you jump. They press a button. Then instead of saying, don't press my button that I don't want to jump, that is what many people do, what we have to do is like, let me go inside and remove this button. Let me
Yeah.
resist the fear of being abandoned, because I will be never abandoned. If you are not the right person to be with me, if you're not the right man or the right woman, I want to know the sooner the better. But while I'm in a relationship, I will trust that this is forever what we want. Then I heal my own fear of abandonment without the other person being responsible. And my self love will sustain me through this process. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
But
Absolutely. So for me, healing that came with very vulnerably speaking out those things. So when those things would pop up, whether like just being aware of where I was making that mistake, being aware of where I was getting in my head and letting these old patterns make me make decisions or make me live out of fear, the more that I spoke those out and I didn't hide from them. I used to always hide from them. I would always just, okay, nope, this is just me. This is just whatever it was. And I would just try to internalize it and bottle it. And then it kept getting heavier and heavier and heavier to the
The
point where
suitcase, yeah, the
it,
suitcase was too much.
yeah, it got very heavy. And I started unpacking the suitcase where it was like, okay, now I just need to, and then I started feeling that weight go off and the case became lighter. I started like the clarity in my brain, the way my body felt, the energy that I was having in the mornings, the more I was releasing these different things, it was almost like clearing out blockages in my life where I didn't realize how much weight some of this stuff held on to me. Is this another reason as people like with the happiness and self-love that when you're not doing these things, you tend to attach your identity to outside things, whether that be your job, your kids, sports, TV shows, social media? You're looking for that dopamine, that happiness, and they've just really learned in almost every walk of life how to profit off of our dopamine and the happiness that people do not have. And the more you, I don't know, avoid going into yourself and having those moments of sitting by yourself for 15 minutes and letting the thoughts come in. And if that was problematic for me, well, that told me there was a lot of things that I needed to heal and work on. And for me, the more I became aware of it, the less I needed those dopamine hits, the less I would go to social media, the less I would go to the phone, the less, and it was like, oh, this is all working together.
Yeah, you need the love, and if you don't have inside, you are gonna look for it outside, and it might be in the likes or in the hearts that you receive, or it might be in your status, or it might be in the love of your family. But we and I did it in my first marriage. Like I put all my happiness in, like, it was not fair at all, no, but in the pocket of my husband. Like, you have to make me happy, because again, I wasn't born like, now I talk like I have things figured out like you, Jared, but
Yeah.
I have to learn all these things. This was a long journey, and I started very, very young. And you keep adding things, like maybe some people will need to, in order to not to repress all these emotions and put them under the rock, find ways to, for some people it's talking. They may have a coach or a therapist that with whom they can talk about these things. For other people, but might be journaling. For other people, might be meditating. That it's a way of coming back home, this safe space where you can be with yourself outside of the external world and reconnect with who you are. Like, feel this essence that you have, and really put everything in perspective, and return to your real you.
Mm-hmm.
Calm down, and when you are in balance, then you can return to the world. Remember that the more love you have, the more you fill your own tank of self-love, the more you can give to others. And we are here to do that. The problem is that we cannot give from an empty bucket, as you say. Then we have to design spaces in our day, not in our life, in our day, like a schedule, like the same way you schedule a meeting, where you can do things that add to the love for yourself. For you, maybe it might be see like a TV show, or watch 4 videos of cats in Instagram, or whatever it is that adds joy to your life. Or it might be, I want to take a bath, or it doesn't have to be something like, oh, I need to go into a cruise, or I need a vacation. Do it daily, because this is the best way to be sure that you always sustain your own love, that you are in connection with yourself. And when you are connected with yourself, you can connect with everything that exists, and you become this force to really transform the world. But don't just keep ignoring the signs, because there is a moment, and I also live it, where it shows up in your life. It shows up in the level of unhappiness or depression, in the autoimmune disorder or disease or whatever it is, because the body is screaming for you to make changes. And we are not only like a physical body, and there is our consciousness, and there is our mind, heart, soul. It's a togetherness. Then I tend to tell clients, like, I can relate with you because everything that have happened to people, it happened in my life. My parents got divorced when I was very young. There was a lot of drama. Then I have been divorced. I had cancer. I had financial problems. I moved from another country and start over. I changed careers. Then this is what builds your resilience. This is really thinking that life is not a collection of problems that you have to resolve. Life is an adventure that needs to be lived, and you are here.
Yeah.
You have the power to, and if you don't, ask for help. There are beings there to help you. There is support more than you imagine, and you don't have to do this on your own. If you can, I'm very good at self-coaching, and I have done a lot of the things, but I wish that when I was living in Spain and I start having problems and I couldn't put the label of I don't love myself, someone will invite me to the kind of workshops that I teach to people, giving them resources and explaining all of these things, because some of us, we don't know that we can give us permission to live the life we want.
Yeah.
Very
Well, I
simple,
think you're
but
you're made to think that a certain life via where you live, via what you're taught, you think that that's the only thing there is out there, and the rest of this beautiful planet that we live on, you kind of get this tunnel vision mindset that that's all you can do in life. And then once you start breaking out of that, you kind of see the world.
yeah, and I think it's very important to travel. And if you cannot travel physically, at least do it. There are plenty of documentaries now about other cultures, and see that you are not the center of the world, that there are many different ways of living, that there are, we have a pandemic of unhappiness here. If you have seen the World Report, and especially into the young population, that's like you have kids in Africa that have nothing and difficult lives, and they are smile more than kids in the US.
It's a lot of these that those screens are
Blaming
stressing.
blaming other, like, let's create at least where you have influence, no, that it's in your family, in your community, like other avenues. I don't think that people make wrong choices. It's like they don't have other options, then we have to teach them. And I created an organization called Love, Love, and Love to spread that love in the world and to give resources to people to make them understand that it's not about relationships, it's about cultivating love. Love will be always there for you. It's the force that you have. It's what you are. It's what created you. And it's very important that you trust that force and that you live by it. You can get up in the morning and say, love, show me what should I do today? And have this idea that you don't have to be a good person, just have to be the best you can today. And do it with
Oh, I
kind,
love that.
with understanding, without judging you, like, oh, I fail again. Oh, you see, how is possible I did that? And because we tend to do that again and again and again, then no, please, just be there for yourself, support yourself, encourage yourself. You have to be your fun number one, your cheerleader. You have to be there, like telling you how fantastic everything is gonna be. And I'm not trying to make it positive or unrealistic. It's just because from that perspective, everything looks easier. It's what you were saying. Oh, I have to do the yard. Oh my God, I cannot do the yard. I have to clean all this house. Then what we are doing is putting pressure on ourselves. Just start one step after another, and then things will be there. And how much we suffer in our mind when the only thing we have to do is just take the first baby step. Be courageous enough,
Absolutely.
trust yourself to take one baby step, and the rest will follow.
I absolutely love that. That I don't think that could have been a better way to wrap this up, because we've almost hit right at an hour, and that was absolutely perfect. You are wonderful, and it has been an absolute pleasure to get to meet you and learn from you. Can you please again promote anything you have, tell people where they can find you, um, and that way, yeah, anyone watching this can find all of your wonderful stuff.
Thank you. And you are wonderful too. And it has been a
Thank
pleasure to
you.
have this conversation. I learn as much from you, and I hope you learn from me. Then that was our purpose for this conversation.
Absolutely.
And I'm so glad to see a colleague that it's just trying to love himself a little bit more every day. Then if you resonated with this or you want to find more, the easiest is to go to my website, judithmcosta.com. There you will find all the classes, private sessions, retreats that I'm preparing for next year. I don't know when the episode is going to be published, but I'm in the final editing of a book called Stop Abandoning Yourself, totally connected with what we are doing.
Mm-hmm.
This is the name of a program. And again, I'm here to help you in whatever way. You will find a contact form with my email, my phone number. And I'm also in all social media platforms. If you go down to the bottom of the page, you will find all the links there.
Perfect. Well, thank you again so much for all of your knowledge and for the time you gave me today. And yeah, thank you so much for joining me. Have a great rest of your day.
It has been a pleasure. And let me say that lots of love to everyone.
Well, thank you for joining me. We'll be back next time. Bye.